Hello, thanks for your company. Today on ENCORE, the human zoo exhibition that's causing a riot. Literally. Exhibit B comes to Paris. It used to create a fuss because it was controversial. Now art critics say it's not surprising enough. The Turner Prize. And someone a little less divisive, Paddington. The polite young bear comes to cinemas in France. It was cancelled in London and disrupted for one night in the Paris suburbs. But the question is, will protesters manage to cancel a controversial human zoo exhibition when it comes to the French capital at the weekend, a city that prides itself on its artistic freedom? Last week, they smashed through the doors of a theatre in Saint-Denis where the show featuring black actors chained and in cages was taking place. The exhibition, called Exhibit B, began attracting opposition in September from critics who say it's racist. It's been touring for the past 4 years. Catherine Clifford reports.
Displayed half naked or chained, some actors portray tribespeople in history's forgotten human zoos. Others depict modern-day abuse.
It's an extremely strong piece of work which very clearly denounces all forms of dehumanization, particularly racism. I think it's important to regain the meaning of theatre, the political meaning of theatre.
South African curator Brett Bailey wants to make people face up to racial atrocities. For some, though, a white man displaying black people in this way amounts to the same old racist patterns. The exhibition was shown in this Paris theatre for 3 nights under heavy police surveillance after protesters managed to cancel the performance on opening night.
I don't think it's a good way to make people think about slavery and colonization. Among blacks, there were victims, but there was also resistance and fighters. You have to show all of that. It's so easy to always show black people in pain, in trouble, submissive, crying. No.
Some of the most controversial parts of Exhibit B reenact scenes from real human zoos, widespread across Europe a century ago. Here in Paris, the city's own dark past lies crumbling in this overgrown garden. I'm about to retrace the steps of over 2 million people who came here in the summer of 1907 to the colonial exhibition. Here, people were displayed alongside animals. They were contracted and paid, although the small wage never went directly to women or children. These are the very buildings where tribes of people were brought to live to demonstrate daily life in their colony, intrigued Parisians crowding round to observe them. It's one of several such sites in Paris, but the only one where traces remain. Here across town, over 1,000 people were exhibited right up until 1937. For historian Pascal Blanchard, there's a lack of information here. He recently worked with the Parisian authorities to install this plaque, one of a kind in Europe. Today, visitors to the amusement park here are usually unaware of the history that lies beneath their feet.
Half naked in winter, they caught illnesses and sometimes even died of the cold. And these people are still buried today beneath the Jardin d'Acclimatation.
The tribes were often persuaded to play to the crowds as savages.
When you saw them eating raw meat with their huts and the animals, you would leave convinced that the racist scientific theories were legitimate.
For Blanchard, works like Exhibit B are an important means to remember these atrocities. Parisians have until mid-December to decide whether they want to look this uncomfortable history in the eye.
And Exhibit B is due to take place at Paris's Saint-Quatre exhibition space from the 7th until the 14th of December. Well, to something now that used to be famous for its shock value, but now some critics are calling Britain's most prestigious art award, the Turner Prize, irrelevant. It was established in 1984 to celebrate contemporary art and is given to an artist under 50. But a journalist from the UK's Telegraph newspaper says people are now indifferent to the prize, which once provoked debate. It follows Duncan Campbell's win earlier this week. Mariam Saab takes a look now at the work of the Irish artist.
The winner of the 2014 Turner Prize is Duncan Campbell.
For its 30th edition, the controversial Contemporary Art Prize went to the 42-year-old Dublin-born film artist, a recognition that comes with a £25,000 paycheck.
This money will make a huge difference to me. Beyond that, even being nominated for the prize has given me great heart. The opinions of the people on the jury matter a great deal to me, so I'd like to thank you.
The filmmakers would like us to feel the sensation of being seen.
Episodic and made to watch twice through, Campbell says his film, It for Others, is about understanding certain histories through objects.
It was really inspired by a film that Chris Marker and Alan Renee made in 1953 called Les Statues Mur aussi, which is about traditional art from West Africa. They link the kind of death of purpose of the objects that they film with their commercialisation and consumption by the colonial classes at the time.
A blend of old and new, the 54-minute film's aesthetic revolves around African art, commercial commodities, the Irish Republican Army, as well as this dance sequence by choreographer Michael Clark, inspired by equations from Karl Marx. Campbell's win is also a nice boost for the Glasgow School of Art, which was partially destroyed by a fire earlier this year. The artist is the 4th graduate of the school to win the prestigious prize in the past decade.
And one of the last great masterpieces by the prize's namesake, JMW Turner, has set a world record for the artist this week. Rome from Mount Aventine has sold for €38 million. Painted in 1835, it's seen as one of the artist's supreme achievements and arguably the most important view of Rome ever painted. Its state of preservation is also remarkable.
What's extraordinary about this picture is it's remained untouched since the day it was painted. It's never been cleaned before, it's never been lined. It's on its original stretcher and its original exhibition frame. All the techniques that Turner is so famous for, the thin, wet application of oil paint, rather like watercolour, the building up of thick impasto, all of that remains intact as the artist intended it.
And the auction coincides with a wider moment of interest in JMW Turner, with an exhibition at Tate Britain in London, as well as Mike Leigh's film Mr. Turner. And you can see my interview with Mike Leigh in our next Encore programme coming up later in the week. Now, he's been entertaining readers and viewers worldwide for more than 50 years. Now, the world's favourite bear is gracing the silver screen in a CGI-packed blockbuster. Paddington has already smashed box office records in the UK and is preparing to enchant children and grown-ups all over France. Halima Hinadine has more.
London. It's just for one night.
Do bears even have names?
My name is...
Right.
Or perhaps you'd like an English name.
An English name?
Paddington.
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 Paddington?
The bear from deepest, darkest Peru, named after a train station, needs little introduction. Paddington has delighted children of all ages for over 50 years.
I grew up with the books, and I was just looking for his marmalade sandwich, actually.
And now there's even more reason for fans to be excited as he makes his big screen debut with some big-name stars.
I'm playing Mr. Brown, whose family take in the bear that they meet on Paddington Station. My character's rather reluctant at first, rather suspicious of this strange creature from another part of the world, and certainly doesn't want him marauding all over his house.
Stranger danger. There's some sort of bear over there. Probably selling something.
Hello there.
Mary. Hello.
This young bear needs our help, Henry. You are going to make a fantastic addition to the collection.
Ooh. Don't know if I like the sound of that.
I grew up, reading Paddington Bear and always loving the bear and loving the, just the way that he sort of had to survive and his charm, I suppose.
That famous charm ensures his adoption into the family, despite initial opposition from Mr. Brown and Paddington's catastrophic escapades. The transition from books to the big screen isn't always easy, but for the family of the man who created the character, they were reassured that their little brother was in good hands.
It's kind of interesting. It's like having a member of your family suddenly becoming a film star. It's slightly overwhelming,
but we feel very confident in David Heyman, who's the producer.
And Paddington is in equally good hands here in France too, with award-winning actor Guillaume Gallienne providing Paddington's voice in French.
The luxury of dubbing is that it's easier to get into character. All you have to do is jump in his shoes and start running.
The film's already a hit in the UK and looks set for success here in France too, if these children's reactions are anything to go by.
And we'll wrap up with an exhibition also getting some positive reactions. It's called Disobedient Objects and is on at London's V&A until February next year. From the pan lid that helped topple 4 presidents to the giant inflatable cobblestone that leaves police baffled, it celebrates the most unlikely protest objects. Remember our website, we're also on Twitter and Facebook. There's more news coming up on France 24 after this.